I want to welcome all of you to the Bradley Beach Arts Council's new production, actually old production, of Hamlet. and that's all I think I have to say. Enjoy.
Hamlet, Shakespeare's longest, most popular, and most frequently performed play, is responsible for the immortal lines, "To be or not to be, that is the question," and the advice, "To thine own self be true." The story begins in Denmark with the news that King Hamlet of Denmark has recently died. Denmark is in a state of high alert and preparing for possible war with young Fortinbras of Norway. A ghost resembling the late King Hamlet is spotted on a platform before Elsinore Castle. King Claudius, the brother of King Hamlet, now rules Denmark. He has taken King Hamlet's wife, Queen Gertrude, as his new wife and Queen of Denmark. King Claudius, fearing young Fortinbras may invade, has sent ambassadors to Norway to urge the King of Norway to restrain Fortinbras. Young Prince Hamlet, the son of the dead king, distrusts his uncle, King Claudius. King Claudius and Queen Gertrude do not understand why Prince Hamlet still mourns his father's death over 2 months ago. In his first soliloquy, Hamlet explains that he does not like his mother marrying his uncle Claudius so quickly, within a month of his father's death. Laertes, the son of Lord Chamberlain Polonius, gives his sister Ophelia some brotherly advice. He warns Ophelia not to fall in love with Prince Hamlet, because she would only hurt him. Polonius tells his daughter Ophelia not to return Hamlet's affections, for he fears Hamlet is only using her. Hamlet meets the ghost of his father, follows the ghost, and learns that King Hamlet was poisoned by Claudius. The ghost tells Hamlet to avenge his father's death, but not to punish his mother, Queen Gertrude, for remarrying. His mother's conscience and heaven will judge her. Hamlet swears his friends, Horatio and Marcellus, to silence over Hamlet's meeting the ghost. Polonius tells Rinaldo to spy on his son Laertes in Paris. Polonius learns from Ophelia that a badly dressed and disheveled Hamlet had met with her, studied her face, and then abruptly left. Polonius believes that Hamlet's odd behavior is because Ophelia has rejected him. Polonius decides to tell Claudius of Hamlet's recently odd behavior. King Claudius instructs courtiers Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to find out what is causing Hamlet's change of character. Queen Gertrude reveals that only King Hamlet's death and her recent remarriage could possibly be upsetting Hamlet. Polonius has his own theory about Hamlet's transformation. It is caused by Hamlet's love for his daughter, Ophelia. Hamlet makes his famous speech about the greatness of man. Hamlet plans to use a play to test Claudius and find out if Claudius really did kill his father, as King Hamlet's ghost has told him.
Sous les coups du destin, affect et jaloux. De moi se sont à peine écoulés, et ma mère est au bras d'un nouvel époux. Voilà ces larmes éternelles fut à peine inconstance.
Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, or resolve itself to a dew. Oh, that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh, God! God! How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it, ah, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross and in nature possess it merely that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much. Not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember. Why, she would hang on him as if increase in appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month. Ere yet those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body. Like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that would want discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. O wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets! It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convey his assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor. Hold it a fashion and a toy in blood. A violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute no more.
No more, but so.
Think it no more, for nature crescent does not grow alone and fuse in bulk. But as this temple waxes, the inward service of the mind and the soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now. And now no soil nor coddle doth besmirch the virtue of his will. But you must fear. His greatness is weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of this whole state. And therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then if he says he loves you, if it fits your wisdom so far to believe it that he in his particular act in place may give you his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal, then weigh what loss your honor may sustain. If with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection, out of the shot and danger of desire. The chariest maid is prodigal enough if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself scapes not calumnious strokes. The canker galls the infants of the spring too oft before their buttons be disclosed. And in the morn and dew of liquid youth, contagious blasphements are most eminent. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed.
Oh, fear me not. I stay too long. But here my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Yet here, Laertes. Aboard, for shame! The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There. My blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory look thou character. Give thy thought no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entry to a quarrel, but being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous, cheap in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing, season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you, go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell!
What is, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so 'tis put on me, and not in the way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late, made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affection! Pah! You speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe these tenders, as you call
I
them?
do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby that has ta'en these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly. or you'll tend to me, a fool.
My lord, he hath importuned me with love, in honorable fashion.
High fashion, you may call it. Go to, go to.
And hath given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers not of that color that their vestments show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or have talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
How now, Ophelia, what's the matter?
My lord, I have been so affrighted.
With what in the name of God?
My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and down-jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors. He comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh, so piteous and profound as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go. And with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes. For out a doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended their light on me.
This is the very ecstasy of love. Come, go with me, we'll go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I'm sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord. But as you did command me, I did repel his fetters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I'm sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not courted him. I thought he did but trifle and meant to wreck thee, but beshrew my jealousy. Come, go we to the king. Come.
The king's spies, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, report to Claudius on Hamlet's behavior. Hamlet's eager for King Claudius and Queen Gertrude to watch a play tonight, to which Hamlet has added plot lines. Claudius and Polonius listen in on Hamlet and Ophelia's private conversation. Hamlet, suspecting their presence, believes that Ophelia is spying on him. He becomes increasingly hostile to her before rudely departing. Claudius no longer believes that Hamlet is merely lovesick. Claudius decides to send Hamlet to England, fearing danger in Hamlet. The king agrees to Polonius's plan to eavesdrop on Hamlet's conversation with his mother after the play. Hopefully, they will learn more. The play, to which Hamlet has added lines, is performed. The mime preceding the play, which mimics the ghost's description of King Hamlet's death, goes unnoticed. The play, called The Murder of Gonzago, is performed, causing Claudius to react in such a way that Hamlet is convinced his uncle did indeed poison his father, King Hamlet, as the ghost had previously told him. Hamlet pretends not to know that the play has offended Claudius. Hamlet agrees to speak with his mother in private. King Claudius admits his growing fear of Hamlet and decides to send him overseas to England with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern in order to protect himself. Alone, Claudius reveals in his soliloquy the crime that he has committed, that of poisoning his own brother, King Hamlet. Claudius realizes that he cannot escape divine justice. Queen Gertrude attempts to scold her son, but Hamlet instead scolds his mother for her actions. Gertrude cries out in fear. Polonius, hiding behind a tapestry, echoes Gertrude's cries. Hamlet stabs Polonius through the tapestry, behind which Polonius is eavesdropping, and kills him. Hamlet continues scolding his mother, but the ghost reappears, telling Hamlet to be gentle with his mother, the queen. For her part, Queen Gertrude agrees to stop living with King Claudius, thus beginning her redemption. Claudius speaks with Gertrude. He learns of Polonius's murder, which shocks him. Gertrude lies for her son, saying that Hamlet is as mad as a tempestuous sea. King Claudius, now scared of Hamlet, decides to have Hamlet sent away to England immediately. He also sends courtiers and spies, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, to speak with Hamlet and to find out where Hamlet has hidden Polonius's body so they can take it to the chapel. Hamlet refuses to tell Rosencrantz and Guildenstern where Polonius's dead body is hidden. He calls Rosencrantz and Guildenstern lapdogs, revealing his true awareness that they are not his friends. However, Hamlet does agree to meet with King Claudius. Hamlet is brought before the king. The two exchange words, clearly circling each other, each aware that the other is a threat. Hamlet tells Claudius where Polonius's body is located. Claudius ominously tells Hamlet to leave for England, allegedly for Hamlet's own safety. With Hamlet gone, Claudius reveals his plans for Hamlet to be killed in England, freeing Claudius from any further worry. Young Fortinbras marches his army across Denmark to fight the Polish. Hamlet laments that he does not have the strength of Fortinbras, a ruler who will lead an army into pointless fighting, if only to maintain honor. Hamlet asks himself how he cannot fight for honor when his father has been killed and his mother made a tore in his eyes by becoming Claudius's wife. The death of Polonius leaves its mark on Ophelia, who becomes mad from the grief of losing her father. Laertes storms Claudius's castle, demanding to see his father and wanting justice when he learns that his father has been killed. Claudius remains calm, telling Laertes that he too mourns the loss of Polonius. Claudius explains to Laertes that Hamlet killed his father, Polonius. Deciding now that they have a common enemy, they plot Hamlet's death at a fencing match to be arranged between Laertes and Hamlet. Laertes learns of his sister Ophelia's death by drowning.
J'ai pu frapper le misérable, et je ne l'ai pas fait. Qu'est-ce donc que j'attends? Qu'est-ce donc que j'attends? Si je voudrais qu'il soit capable, pourquoi tarder encore et laisser fuir le temps? Hélas, que tu maintenant, ô mon père?
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by asleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life? But that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear the ills we have than fly to those we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought. And enterprises of great pith and moment with disregard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia. Nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered.
Good, my lord. How does your honor for this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well.
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost. Take these again. For to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, for the power of beauty would sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time does give it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest. Yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant knaves. All. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Farewell. Where is thy father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Farewell. Or, if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go, and quickly too. Farewell.
Heavenly powers, restore him.
I have heard of your paintings too well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig and amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures, and you make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to. I'll know more on it. It hath made me mad! I say, there will be no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one, shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery. Go.
Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen. See what I see.
I warrant you.
He will come straight. Look, you lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat in him. Silence me even here. Pray you be round with him.
Mother!
I'll warrant you, fear me not.
Mother!
Withdraw, I hear him coming.
Mother! Now, Mother, what's the matter?
Now, Hamlet, thy father thou hast much offended.
Thou hast my father much offended.
Come, come. You answer with an idle tongue.
Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue.
How now, Hamlet?
What's the matter?
Have you forgot me?
Nay, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife. And would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you who can speak.
Come, and sit you down. You shall not budge until I set up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Wilt thou not kill me? Help, help!
What ho? Help! Help!
How now, a rat? Dead for a ducat. Dead! Ah!
I am slain.
Oh, what hast thou done?
I know not.
Oh,
Is it the king?
what a horrible and bloody deed is this.
A bloody deed? Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
Kill a king?
Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Sit you down, for I shall wring your heart if it be made of penetrable stuff. If damned custom and not brast it so that it is proof and bulwark against sense.
What wilt thou do?
You have done such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty.
What act? That lays so deep in the ecstasy. What act? Oh.
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths. Oh, such a deed that from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow o'er this solidity, and compound mass with tristful visages against the doom is thought sick at the act.
I say no more, Shakespeare. No more.
Look here upon this picture and on this. The counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls the front of Jove himself. And I, like Mars, to threaten and command a station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill. A combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband,
Oh.
like a mildewed ear blasting his wholesome brother. Oh, shame, where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutiny a matron's bones. To flaming youth, let virtue be as wax and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor doth give the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will.
Oh, Hamlet, speak to me no more.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over thy nasty sty.
No more.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent lord, a vice of kings, a cutpurse of the empire and the rule, that from the shelf the precious diadem stole and put in his pocket.
No
A king
more!
of shreds and patches! Save me, and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards.
Oh,
What would your gracious figure?
alas, he's mad.
Do not come your tardy son to chide. That lapsed in time and passion, let's go by the important acting of your dread command. Oh, say!
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceived in weakest body's strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet. 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 Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
How is't with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do discourse? Oh, Hamlet.
I look on him. On him. Look you how pale he glares. His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects, that what I have to do will want true color. Tears, perchance for blood.
To whom do you look?
Do you
Look,
see nothing there?
No, nothing at all.
Do you, nor nothing do you
Nothing.
hear?
No, I hear nothing at all.
Why, look you, how it steals away my father as he lived. Look you now, how he goes out at the portal.
Hamlet, you have cleft my heart in twain.
Then throw away the worser part of it, and live the pure with the other half. Good night. But go not to mine uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster, custom, whom all sense doth eat, of habits devil is angel, yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good, he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either reign the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I will blessing beg of you. For this same Lord I do repent. One more word, good lady. Not this. By no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to his bed. Pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, or for a pair of reachy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you ravel all this matter out. That I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft.
Oh, Hamlet, be assured that if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life left. what thou hast said to me.
I must to England. You know that.
Alas, I forgot. 'Tis so concluded on.
There are letters sealed. And my two schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate. Mother, good night. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Good night, mother.
I will not speak with her. To my sick soul, as sins so often are, each toy is prelude to some great amiss. Artless jealousy, full of artless jealousy, is guilt. It spills itself in fearing to be spilled. Oh,
Where
let
is
her
the
come
beauteous
in.
majesty of Denmark?
How now, Ophelia?
How should I your true love know from another one? By his cockle hat and staff, and his sandal shoon.
Oh, Ophelia, what imports this song?
Say you? Nay, pray you mark. He is dead and gone, lady, he is dead and gone. At his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone.
Oh, no.
Pray you mark! White his shroud as the mountain snow, larded all with sweet flowers, which be wept to the ground, did not go with true love showers. Well, God yield you. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be. God be at your table. pray you, let's have no more words of this. But when they ask you what it means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime, and I am made at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes and upped the chamber door. Let in the maid that out a maid never departed more. Indeed, without an oath, I'll make an end on it. By Gis and by Saint Charity, alack and fie for shame. Young men will do it if they come to it. By cock, they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. He answers, so would I had done by yonder sun, and thou hadst not come to my bed. I hope all will be well. We must be patient. And yet I cannot choose but weep to think that they should lay him in the cold ground. My brother shall know of it. And so I thank you for your good counsel. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night.
Laertes? Laertes, where are you? Well, there you are.
Where is my father?
He's dead, Laertes, but not by the king.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell! Allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation. To this point I stand that both the worlds that I give to negligence, let come what comes, only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father!
His shroud is the mountain snow, larded all with sweet flowers, which be wept to the ground. Did
Oh,
not
now,
go
what noise
with
is that?
true
Oh,
love.
let her come in.
White his shroud is the mountain snow, larded all with sweet flowers, which be wept to the ground. Did not go with true love. True love showers.
Oh, heat, dry up my brains. Tear 7 times salt burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid in weight till our scale turn the beam. Oh, Rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. Oh, heavens, is it possible that a young maid's wits be as mortal as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love, and where 'tis fine, it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loved.
They bore him barefaced off nonny, hey nonny. And in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove.
Hast thou thy wits, and didst persuade revenge it could not move thus?
You must sing. A down, and you call him a down. Oh, how the wheel becomes it. It is the false steward that stole his master's daughter.
This nothing's more than matter.
There's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there is pansies, that's for thoughts. There's fennel for you. And columbines. And there's rue for you. And here's some for me. We may call it Herb a Grace a Sundays. You must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy.
Thoughts, affliction,
Oh,
passion, hell itself, she turns to favorness and to prettiness.
and will he not come again? And will he not come again? No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed. He will never come again. His beard as white as snow, all flaxen was his poll. He is gone, and we cast away moan. God have mercy on his soul. And of all Christian souls, I pray God. God be with you.
Do you see this, O God?
one woe doth tread upon another's heels. So fast they follow, Laertes. Your sister's drowned.
Drowned where?
There is a willow, grows aslant a brook, that shows its hoar leaves in the stream. There she came with fantastic garlands of nettles, crowflowers, daisies, and long purples. Liberal shepherds call them a grosser name, but our cold maids do call them dead men's fingers. There on the pendant boughs, her coronet weeds longing to hang, an envious sliver broke. And down she fell, her and her weedy trophies in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like, for a while they bore her up, at which time she chanted snatches of old lauds, like someone incapable of their own distress, or like a creature native and endued to that element. But long it could not be, until her garments heavy with their drink pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, then she is drowned.
Drowned.
Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia. And therefore, I forbid my tears. Nature her custom holds, let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman shall be out. Adieu, my lady. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly doubts it.
Hamlet and Horatio speak with a grave digger. Hamlet realizes that man's accomplishments are transitory, and holding the skull of Yorick, a childhood jester he well remembered, Hamlet creates a famous scene about man's insignificance and his inability to control his fate following death. At Ophelia's burial, the priest reveals a widely held belief that Ophelia committed suicide. This angers Laertes. Hamlet is angered by Laertes' exaggerated display of grief. Hamlet believes that he loved Ophelia much more than did her brother. Hamlet fights Laertes over Ophelia's grave. Hamlet explains to Horatio how he avoided the death planned by Claudius for him in England, and how he had instead had courtiers Rosencrantz and Guildenstern put to death. Hamlet also reveals his desire to kill King Claudius. Summoned by Osric To fence Laertes, Hamlet arrives at a hall in the castle and fights Laertes. Queen Gertrude drinks a poison cup, which is meant for Hamlet. As she lay dying, she tells everyone that she has been poisoned. Hamlet wins the first 2 rounds against Laertes, but is stabbed and poisoned fatally in the 3rd round. Exchanging swords while fighting, Hamlet wounds and also poisons Laertes. Laertes tells Hamlet that his sword was deliberately dipped in poison. Weakening, Hamlet stabs King Claudius with the very same sword, killing Claudius. Now, as he lay dying, Hamlet tells his friend Horatio not to commit suicide, but rather to tell his story. Hamlet recommends Fortinbras as the next king of Denmark. Fortinbras arrives and cleans up the massacre. Horatio promises to tell all the story we have just witnessed.
La tristesse qui pèse sur mon cœur, à moi les rêves de l'ivresse et le rire mon cœur. Ô liqueur chanteresse, verse l'ivresse et l'oubli dans mon cœur. Ô ce liqueur chacun fait le sport d'ici-bas, sa lourde chaîne, cruel devoir, mon désespoir, de l'âme humaine. Loin de nous, noir présage, loin de nous, noir présage, les plus sages sont les fous.